All right, and we are on. Welcome to our first brown bag lunch. Yay, I'm so glad to see so many faces here. Our first ever topic is Canva for library marketing, programming, and other fun things. Like if you're Becky Garrity and you want to use it for your wedding and making all your place cards. So we'll get started by sharing our screen. And Autumn will be doing the driving.
All right, so then this is Canva. This is our design software that we do use for whatever you really want it to be. So we even use it for images for our website. We use it for social media, anything your heart desires, really. So the main thing I want to mention is that when you are using it through the YCL marketing team, we have the ability to have additional features such as paid images. There's some additional graphics that you get from Canva. So it's really nice to have the team side of things. Every library does have a login. Have your login. Make sure to send that to you. Please just ask me for it at some point so I can share the login information. Some libraries do share because due to the way that our system is set up, we only are allowed to have, I think, 10 accounts. And because we have 13 libraries, there were some that needed to swap and tag team it together. So just working with the libraries that we thought would kind of mesh well together. So right now what we're looking at is my account via the YCL marketing team. I forgot what it's called. So whenever you are not sure, if you first log in and you're only seeing a very select few items, you'll notice that the rest of your folders, certain things will disappear. There's not a brand kit. Anything that would have been associated with YCL would live on the YCL marketing team. And sometimes when you log in, if you're logging in fresh, it'll take you to your quote unquote personal account. So technically you can create designs on this side of things for free. And because this was my old account, I do have things in here from before we had our team site. So anytime you need to toggle back and forth, click on your initials, or it'll say like YCL, Paul Smith, whatever library it is, and then just click and toggle to switch your team, the little checkbox, and you'll be on the marketing team there. Anything that might have been shared with you, your designs that you made from here will all live within one of these three locations, all your designs, recent or shared with you. So if someone shared something personally with you in Canva and says, hey, I shared that with you in Canva, you should be able to go and find it, you'll be able to find it in the shared with you, typically within this initial region. Or if someone from another library says, hey, I want to share this awesome design I made for whatever reason, they made it because multiple libraries have this program, shared with you. If there are things that we put in our shared with you is like the general feed, I want to say, but the more organized version of all of our content from YCL could be found under the YCL marketing team. Because if you scroll and click down here, you'll see that there are certain things such as like designs, and anything that might have been shared here will live in the designs section. The folders, any folders that might have been shared or relevant to the team will live within this section. This is also where you can go in and find templates, which are also available here. And templates are basically the best way for you to create a design without manipulating the original file. So by clicking on a template, you just automatically open a new one. So I will click on one that I didn't make, because typically if I click on one, it'll say edit original. But when you click on something, oh my gosh, did I make all of these? No, okay. Use this template. So then when you click on it, it'll say use this template. You then make a brand new file of this exact image. So this is just like a helpful guide if you're not quite sure what you want to do with your template, how you want to lay something out for social media or whatnot. These are just helpful guides for you. You by all means, you do not have to use these things unless it's helpful for you for certain reasons. So one of them we actually made was a book club template, one that has a 3-month plan because they are vertical images, and vertical images get a little hard to work with on flyers. There's also a book club template for the 4 layout. So You can absolutely go in and use these. And talk about the newsletter. This is the 11 by 17 wide long piece of paper version, and you can manipulate your newsletter with our template that we used for that Jill created for us, and then we input and mocked hers up from whatever her design software was into Canva. So that way anyone can go in and manipulate it. So if I click on one of these, it then opens the design window. I'm not going to quite go into that yet, but I'll show you. Generally, it'll open something like this, and all of the elements, text, and whatnot, everything will be found here. But I will come back to that. So this is still the marketing team. Anything else on here? Typically, I don't think, so I'm logged in as an administrative, but I believe the only things that you'll see are designs, folders, templates, and people and groups, I believe. Folders are really handy because that's also where your logos live. Your logos live in here. So if you ever need to download a logo for some reason you can't find it, you can click the little 3 dots and click download original. So generally speaking, marketing team will take you to a bunch of different things if you need to search for anything. So if I need to say I want the municipality design template, it'll find it for me. Try and finding something that's relevant to that particular name. Okay, so I'm going to toggle back to all your designs just to explain a small feature that is really handy. One thing, if you ever create something from a template, it will automatically make something in it'll make something in Canva. It'll make a new file for you. So oftentimes it might get cluttered or whatnot. So if you ever need to bulk delete things, just click the little checkbox when you hover, and you'll see as I'm hovering, there's the little checkbox appear, and you can go in and click the trash can in order to delete those items. Also, if you needed to, click the folder item, and it'll move all of those items to a folder. The folder does have to be pre-existing, so you have to make the folder first, making sure that it's already there prior to moving them. One thing to note, even when you do move these to a folder, they don't move away from all your designs. All your designs will always be the feed. It'll have everything here. So even if I move it to a training folder for this particular thing, it won't leave all your designs. So if you ever can't find something, check all of your designs and try to find the name or title of something that you may have used, and you might be able to find your file easily. Another option to talk about is when you click on the 3 dots, it gives you quite a few options. So if you wanted to copy this exact image and then manipulate it for your own reason, add your own logo or whatnot, you can make a copy. Move to folder would allow you to search for specific folders. So if I needed to say Summer Quest 2020 and move it to this particular folder, I could, and then it would shift it to there. The other options I have are to download immediately from here, and then it gives you your options of, well, how do you want to download it? Do you want it to be a PNG, a PDF? Any of your options are there. One thing, if you do need a clear background, like a transparent background, you want to use a PNG, and then you can check this box that says transparent background, and then you'll get just the little image of whatever's on the file. So for example, this one here is a PNG when I downloaded it, and it's just your little Bitmojis.
Can you explain when you'd want to use a transparent background?
So for example, like, okay, here's an example of one that I did use it for because I did not want there to be a big white box around. So as that's a transparent background, I can kind of, okay, actually, wait, here's a better example. What I'll do is I'll plop a color on the back. So if you can notice that you can see around their fingers because the image itself has, it's transparent. Otherwise, you would just see a big white square around the background. I actually really prefer using transparent backgrounds because it makes things a little cleaner. You don't have that big white box, and then it's easier to read. Oftentimes, you'll see that we do that with our logo as well. I was trying to find, see, that's a white background, so that one's hard to tell on. But, okay, let me see if I can find another example. But does that kind of answer the question why you would not want to use, okay, so if this were a PNG, that shape, it would be a white box around it, and it wouldn't look like it's floating in the air. It would have that big white square around it, or however the image itself was cropped, it would have that white border. But when you make something transparent, it disappears. So it makes it a little cleaner on the design end of things too. Yeah, I was trying to find another example, but okay.
That makes sense.
Okay, and then let me see. Moving forward, what else was on this? Download, get shareable link, comment and like, or move to trash. Just a few different options you have from clicking on your images and the ellipses tool.
So rather than having to open up that file and then download it, you can just do it right from your home screen.
Yes, absolutely. It's really handy that way too, because then you don't have to open up I like to call it the design editor window, which is the other screen. We're still on the home screen at this point. But these are the general region. Brand kit then is all of your logos would live in here, as well as, let me find, brand colors, heading, size, image, like our fonts and whatnot. Anything would live in this particular region. Brand kit really isn't that useful right now for you unless you needed to download the logo like right away, or I don't even think you can download a font. But for your own sake, everything will also be found. Brand kit is fully incorporated into the design window, meaning if you click on, okay, I'm going to swap over to an editor of some sort. So when I click on this, if I click on the color palette, you'll see that my brand colors are in here. So anywhere that we might have incorporated our brand, it kind of appears. So when I click on the text, you'll see that the heading is it's called Quicksand. So Quicksand font is here, our subheading font and all of that. So brand kit fully incorporated. Do not have to worry about finding that otherwise. Content planner is something I'm going to skip over for right now. We are hoping to use it in the future because it does seem like a really handy tool, but we have to talk with marketing first before we enable it. Folders, the biggest piece, organizing all of your content. It is the easiest way for you to locate items for yourself, whatever you have and need. So your folders are the first page you'll see, and your folders have any of the stuff that includes whatever you wanted to make, really. So if you ever need to go in and make a new folder, you go in and click create new folder, and you can, we'll just say test folder, and you can choose to share it immediately with someone. You can choose to share it with a group if you have one, or if I just wanted to share it with one particular library, I could share it there. If you needed to share it with multiple libraries, you can pick and choose who you share it with. And you can choose to notify that person by email. They probably won't get it because of the fact that it's a Gmail account associated with your library accounts, but it is still there. So verbally telling someone that you've shared something is also helpful. So I will create a test folder right now. Then within your folder, you then have the option to upload things. So you can upload particular images you might want if you had anything to upload. So we can click on items and click open, and it will try and upload those images right there for you. And you can also click this other button right here, which creates an additional subfolder. Folders are really interesting because when you're viewing the top level of a folder, you do not see the subfolders within it. I know that that's weird to explain without explaining or showing an example of one. So I'm going to click on, Catherine, what did I say? I said SummerQuest had subfolders?
Has subfolders? I believe so.
Okay, let me find one quick. Under like imagine your story. Okay, yes. So this is a good example of a folder that we shared among ourselves for SummerQuest. So we had some anything recent would appear here, including the folders, designs, anything that you might have added, uploaded, lives in here. So folders, when you click on them, you'll then see the thumbnails and performers for libraries, anything that is content within it, but it does not live within like the main folder itself. So for example, I'll show you this, let me see. Okay, so the virtual reality Huffnagel bus or the van is in this particular folder. When I'm at the top level out folder, you'll notice that that image is not here because it lives in a subfolder. So just because you scroll through the first folder does not mean that it is not in here. It might just mean it's somewhere else within a folder. Good. So it's not, it doesn't operate how normal files would on a computer. They otherwise, you just have to like click within the folders themselves to know. And searching. Search tool is a very, very helpful function. So when you're out here at this level at all your folders, so I'm going to type in hef name. Let's see if that appears. When I typed in hef, that was the 3. It should find the band, maybe not. Oh, it searched the folder. Sorry, I just realized it went to that. But searching is really, really helpful when you know what it is that you're looking for. And if you label or rename the file itself, it's very helpful. About folders, let me see, is that whenever you're, oh, I wanted that to. Okay, so then within folders also has your designs. So anything that you might have made that lives within here, that you wanted that folder to, you wanted a design to live in a specific folder, you'll find it here. So for example, on ours, we have a digital story time folder, which prepare to see your face a lot of times, everyone in here. So anything that is on our designs here, we made the main designs for this particular program are living in the designs general section. The folders section then has the thumbnails, and then we have a bunch of designs within here because these are our thumbnail images we use. So just knowing your hierarchy of folders is really important, and organizing your folders is the best way to know where anything lives. So if you are doing teen programs, make a separate folder for teen programs. If you have a specific teen program, put a subfolder in the teen programs called part of the story, or whatever you wanted it to be. Like, organizing the folders is the best way for you to identify and locate anything that you might have, that you might need in the future. Also from folders, you can find your logos and team templates as well. So you'll notice that they do appear a few different places throughout the homepage. One thing also to note, within folders is on the your folders side are likes. So when you are on the design window, you can actually like icons, certain graphics. So little graphics that I wanted to use again because I just thought they were nice or easy to move around. I liked them within the design window, and they show up in my likes on this side. So I can always remove them or shift them to different folders if I needed to. So if I wanted to make something a very specific, like wanted my icons to live in a specific design folder or whatnot, I could do that.
So is that kind of like pinning it?
Kind of, yeah. It's the best way to save something for later if you know you might want to use it again. I like a lot of these hand-drawn stuff, so these icons, so I wanted to save them some way somehow, and that was the best way to do so. So yeah, your likes are very handy.
Okay, so you found them where, and then you made them go to likes how?
I will. So I find them on this side of things. So if I say I want a heart that I'm like, oh, this is a cute little icon. You click the 3 dots and then you just hit add to likes. Now I'm on the design window. I don't want to confuse anyone because we just toggled back and forth. But clicking the add to likes, and then I will refresh my likes. I clicked back to my home page and refreshed the page, and it should appear, maybe. Yeah, they're right there. Sorry, you can't see them because they're white, but they are right there. So then they just get added to your likes so you can find them later. But you can, while you're using the page, so while you're in here, they live in your folders. And if you need to find them again, you can find them here, which I'm going to go through in a moment. The full setup of the design window. I know I seem like I'm going through the homepage a lot, but it's really the best way to understand where you're putting things, where things are moving, how you're saving them, because it really is a nice software. If you save something on your computer and you have the Canva app, or you have an iPad or a tablet that you can also use the Canva app, you can get those designs right away from your device. So it's really nice. It's all cloud storage, so everything updates very regularly. You make a change and something changes and saves pretty automatically as long as you have a good internet connection. But you'll notice as we make changes in a moment, everything will be fresh and it'll start over from, it'll save immediately. If you ever think you lost something, you can go into your trash and click the 3 dots to restore it, and it puts it back in all your designs. That is the general gist of the home page, everything in here. There are some templates if you ever needed to like look at some, get some inspiration, you can go through things here. Learn is a really nice opportunity for you to play around with Canva, get used to like how things move, how certain tools work. They have courses on here, and it kind of just like takes you through the whole plan. So if you wanted to do something on social media, you could really hone in on that particular skill set and work on it. So it's really nice. Some of these, so this was the first one. Let me see if I can find one that has, this one's all lessons. Some of them are very interactive and have an activity to go with it. Okay, so these are all lessons, but if you look at some of the courses, especially like the introductory ones, graphic design basics, we'll click on, oops. Okay, so right here, you'll see something that says activity, and the activity then will open a Canva window and it'll walk you through like move this here, align this with this, and it'll show you different things. So just helpful things to know if you are interested in building your Canva skills. The learn function is very handy. Okay, so let me go home. Okay, so then starting a design, you have a few options. If you wanted to simply search by template style, so searching by, if I know I'm making a YouTube thumbnail, I want to go in and type in YouTube thumbnail. It'll start to find suggested file sizes for what you're looking for. So if I needed that, I would go in and click something there. If I needed a Facebook cover image, event cover, cover image, it is the correct size for that particular template. So it's really nice to search for something like that, because the minute I click on this, it will open a brand new design window clean. It will be a white blank canvas for me to work on. Now, if I wanted to work on something that we had as one of our templates, let me see. Oh, wait. Another option, sorry, to start a new design, you could go into your marketing team and click on templates and click on any one of these, and it opens the design and you can start playing with it then. Is to click the blue create a design button, and you can go in and add custom dimensions. So if you know someone is asking for an ad for a program that you're promoting, some program with a local organization, and they have a newsletter and they say it needs to be 500 by 400 pixels wide or 3 by 5 inches, you can go in and say your size, whatever you need it to do. So width by height, and then other options, you have the ability to change from pixels to inches to millimeters to centimeters. So you can pick and choose however you would like to start your design. But if you don't use custom dimensions, again, you have the option to then just go in and add certain things as you would wish. So whatever size you're looking for. All right, does anyone have anything that they would like me to go in and act like we're making, like we're going to promote some type of event or something, because then it helps me with training. So anyone have a suggestion for a design?
A Halloween story time?
Okay, so we'll make that, do we want that to be a Facebook image?
Sure.
Okay, so we will say it is a Facebook post. So I will click there, and you'll notice my design window now opens. I'm going to close these two, and it is just a blank canvas. First and foremost, the one thing you want to do immediately is name your file. So we're going to say Halloween story time. Well, oh, okay. Halloween story time. I just abbreviate Facebook post. I do FB. Okay, so then I gave it a name. That's the most important thing. Easiest way to do it, you just click on it and the box just brings up a text box for you and the cursor appears. So always making sure you have it saved first, name saved first. Otherwise, it just shows up as the generic, what you just saw was like Facebook post. Okay, so one of my favorite things to do with Canva is that they have a bazillion templates. So many templates of different winter, autumn, love, spring, any type of theme you could possibly think of, they'll have it. So if I type in, oops, Halloween, there will be a bunch of templates pre-made. So you could kind of go in and use these as you wish. So as you click on them, the design then loads right into your screen, onto your canvas for you. All you have to do is simply click once on the design and it appears. If you're not sure which design you like, or you like a few of these, you can go in and add them to your likes as well. So it could save templates for you too. So if you know, well, I don't want to use this one for this Halloween thing I'm doing, but I have another Halloween thing we're doing, and you can save that there. What else? So if we wanted to play around with one of these kind of things, we could go in, and the easiest function then to do is click on one. And as it loads, you'll notice that there's all these little elements with the blue outlines. So now you have the ability to click on things, change their colors. You can click on the text, manipulate it however you want, click on the background, change the background color, whatnot. So which one we will pick? We will do this one. Okay, so let's say we are gonna, what do I want to, which side do? Okay, I want to decide if I want to go through the file first to explain all of this, everything on the file screen. If you have been using Canva for a while, you may have noticed how much they've expanded the file page, because before it really only gave you a few options, but now you have the ability to save directly from the design to a folder. So you never have to worry. Before, you used to have to close the design, find the design from all your designs, and then save it to a folder. Now you have the ability to do that immediately. So if I wanted to save this to story time, I could click on here. I could click the little arrow if it had subfolders. So digital storytime has subfolders. If I wanted to say, oh, this is a thumbnail for some reason, I'd click into it and then I'd just click save, or I could create a new folder right here from within the design window, which is really handy. So always make sure to save your things to wherever you need them, so that way you can find them later. Create a new design basically just makes a brand new empty canvas. Show rulers adds the rulers right here to it. So because the size of this one is like 900 and some pixels, which in case you ever forget, you can always click the file and you're not sure like why it's 900. It's 940 by 788. So if you ever needed that for some reason, it's there. If you show guides, that allows you basically to, when you're moving things, if you wanted certain things to be centered or whatnot, they are there. And they just kind of help you along your way while you're aligning certain things. If you wanted to show margins, it would then allow you to know, I think these margins are pretty large and we can't manipulate them. Unfortunately, Canva does not allow us to like tell it 1 inch margins, 1.5 inch margins, or anything like that. So if you use margins, just know that you do have some extra wiggle room to go beyond the edges. For this, we don't need margins because it's going to be a digital file, so you won't be printing it out or anything. Show print bleed, again, if you're using it for printing. Okay, so print bleed basically allows you, it shows the overlay. If you're going to like order these professionally, that would mean that the artwork goes over the edge a certain amount, so that way you know you've reached the whole way around the edge. But we wouldn't have to worry about anything like that. Save. Everything does auto save, but if you want that extra confirmation that you're saving it, you can do file save, just like you normally would on a Word document. Save to folder, like I said. Resolved comments is something that is a new thing. If you wanted to add a comment to something and say like, is this the color, or oops, you could then go in and comment that, and someone could mark it as resolved if they reply to it. If you're working on a design with multiple people, it's really handy for a lot of our countywide events. If we are working on programs together and someone's shared their Canva design and said, hey, I don't understand this, you can go in, add a comment, and someone else could then resolve the comment too. So you can have the option to do so there, and then you could view your resolved comments there in the history. Version history, it's a semi-new tool, so I'm not even sure what all it does yet. I believe it's just going to show you all of the edits you made, and you could probably restore it to a previous version. Make a copy, makes an entire copy of this entire image. It's so if you needed to copy something, so when we make our story times, all I do is copy the exact image and just change the person's name and change out the photo. So our storytime thumbnail images we use for our Facebook page and YouTube, we move them over. Download just downloads the file. Help takes you to some tutorials and their help page. One of the best tools about Canva is the resize function. So if you make this and you're really happy with it for Facebook size, but you want it to be Twitter size, and typically Instagram and Facebook images are safe enough that they can be used at the same, but Twitter is a really wide photo. So if you wanted to search for a Twitter post size, you could then manipulate it and it will try its best to resize the image. So if I say resize, it will make this image, it will change this particular canvas. But if I say copy and resize, it makes a brand new version of the image and just tries to stretch it. So sometimes you do have to do a little finagling. You can like click multiple things and shift them over if you'd like, make things larger as you need. But other than that, it does a really, really good job manipulating where it can. So it's really handy. And then all you have to do is always, like I said, make sure you go up, remove where it says copy of, and rename it to whatever the file type it is. So that way you have the ability and you're controlling what it shows up on your front end of your home page, because otherwise you're not going to know when it says copy of Facebook post, copy of da-da-da. Renaming it really helps you in that sense, so you know what size and what you're working with.
Autumn, will you show again how you grouped all those elements and moved them all at the same time?
Oh, yes. I'm about to go over more of that kind of stuff too. So this one is already grouped because I used a template. So what I did, I just click and I drag around the boxes, and then I just kind of move them around. So I click and just draw a fake box essentially around. So if I only wanted this particular guy and that little star, you can kind of see, I can see they get highlighted. So if I only want those two, I can shift them over here. Wherever I want to move them to, they move around with me. If you need to group something, so for example, these are not grouped. See, as I could like move just one at a time. If I wanted that balloon, the star, and all of this stuff essentially to be grouped, I draw my fake box. Another option, you can do shift and click each individual item. I like to draw it because it makes it a little easier. And then the button appears at the top that says group. So you could group them and then they're all together. And now all I have to do is worry about moving one item. If I want them ungrouped, I click ungroup, and I'll show you the other function. So if I click one and then I hold down shift and I click again, and then I hold down and I click again, and you can start to see they're outlining as I click. So shift, click, and now all of the items that I want selected are ready to group, and then I just say group, and they're good to go. So I showed that pretty quick, and I will go over more of those things in a moment. So uploads are really handy for anything that you might need to upload image-wise. Now, unlike all your designs, these do they'll move away from this folder if you shift them to an image folder or something. They will be cleared from your uploads. I'm just bad about doing that, so there's a lot of uploads living in here. But if you move them, they go away from the uploads section. Photos are really handy for anything you might want to search. If you want a background image, so let's say I want pumpkins. Ooh, well, if I spell it correctly, to be the background, I say, okay, I want this. I have an option to click it once and it'll plop it in. I just hit the delete button. That's all I hit. If I take it and I drag it, And you see how it kind of knows where it sees that I want to plop it in there as a background image, it will appear. So if you just click it once, it throws the image in, or if you just click it in there, it'll also throw the image in by itself. It's only really when you go to the edges that it makes it your background image. Having a background image is really handy sometimes because it allows you to go in and it won't adjust certain things. So for example, if I were to lay this in as an image and tried to go around it, it'll also move my image. Whereas if I plop it on there as a background image, it knows I want it to be a background image. So it will only move, oops, the little balloons that I wanted to move, but not the background image. Does that make sense? So when you make something a background, it helps keep it to the background and you won't be moving your image around.
It like snaps it into place.
Yes,
basically.
yep, it like locks it in place. Okay, so images are really nice. There's a filter tool, so you can go in and search things if you have a certain color palette in mind. You have all greens for some reason. You want them to have a semi-green look. You can go in and do that. Let me clear that. If you wanted them to just show up as free images, you can go in and apply those here. So, but we do have the Pro. Wait, let me make sure before I say that out loud. Yes, we have Pro. There's there was like a Pro and a Plus at one point on Canva. So, and those were not free for us, but we have a paid subscription, so we get additional images. And you'll notice where they are because you'll see, oops, the little icon appear that says Pro in the corner when I hover over them. Once again, if I click on that, I can add it to my likes if I like the little icon. Okay, Elements, probably the best tool for anything you're using on Canva. It has all of anything, if you need a little swiggle, you need an icon, a graphic of some sort, anything you can find will probably be found in your elements, because if you just need a simple shape, so if I wanted to make like a border or a line for some reason, I can click this shape and I see, you see these little white lines, I can then extend them out to the edges and I can squish them, make them however I want them to be. I can change the color by clicking the little square in the corner. You'll notice it shows me the document colors. So if you have a certain theme going with, this one is the oranges and the navy blues and the blue tones, you can use one of the colors that's already on the page, so you're not creating a new design of some sort. A brand new random color like this, like that, just it looks random, whereas otherwise you've created a cohesive design by using minimal colors that go together. That's the one big thing I could give you design tip wise, is to use no more than 2 fonts, two to 3 fonts maximum, and sticking to 2 to 3 colors as your theme, or like 4 max. But if you're sticking to certain colors, just trying to keep them within the same shades and tones. So typically, like the 2 main colors on this design are the orange and the blues. So they have that neutral, the dark brown, the orange, that warm tone, and then the blue with the navy. So and then the white obviously offsets for certain things like that. But I will delete. Other things under elements, you can always go back and see anything you might have recently used. So I made a design earlier this week that had a bag on it. So these designs are living here. Any of my icons, they're all within this particular region. So if the reason you might want recently used is because then you can go in and find anything that you might have missed. Or might have you lost it and need to find it again. Featured, there's lines, certain little accents, other flair things. They have some little GIFs that move and whatnot. Grids are really helpful so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to click add a page, and it makes a brand new blank page for me. If I want to make an image that has 3 photos on it, I could click this grid, and then I need to go in and add 3 photos very easily with these layouts. Anytime you see this mountain range looking photo, it's a grid of some sort that allows you to plop an image in. So if I wanted to put this image in, I can just click it and plop it in place. Now, one thing you'll notice, it did crop Nancy's face out. So if I double click the image, I can then shift the image to where I want it and then click done. So I'll do the same just to give that example again. Oh, that one was semi-worked. Let's see. Okay, so then this one's a little off-centered. Double click the image. You'll notice there's now like a shadow around it, and we can shift her in place and say done. And then similar thing, click the image, plop it in place, and that one was pretty good framed. So unless you wanted to make it a little bigger and put Gina more in the frame, you can zoom it in and out and say done. So then grids are really helpful for allowing you to just place an image in place. I'm going back to elements. And then to go back to anything, I know it sometimes looks like you're like locked in here. Just click the X or click elements again, and it'll take you back out. So grids, gradients, charts are really handy if you wanted to make a pie chart or any type of thing. It allows you to actually put in data right into the chart. So if you, for some reason, need to show numbers, if I wanted a bar chart that showed, oops, I'll say like kids books or young adult books or whatnot, you can say that there were 100 checked out, there were 55 checked out, and then it kind of fills in the data as you need, and you can adjust the color as you need as well. So that is the charts tool. They have all of the different options right here, but if you ever want to change it as well, you just click the edit button, and then you can change it from bar chart, line chart, pie chart, whatever you might need, and you can choose to show your labels. You can change the text, the font of the particular bar chart. There, I'll go back to elements. Additional things on this page, there are the flowers, animals, whatever flair you want to add. Okay, does anyone have questions about how to place those? Like you just either click on the image itself, or you can click and, oops, I didn't mean to click the dots, click and drag and drop, and you can drop it into place as well.
So the difference between the frames, the grids, and the shapes, the frames you can plop, you can snap something into place like a photo, but like a shape is more just a
shape.
Like it's just a shape. You can turn it into something. You could change its color, but it's not like how you add the little photos and elements.
Yep. Frames are really handy for if you want to like display something a little nicer. So for example, if we're making a story time and we wanted to say, actually, I will plop it up here. So I'm going to remove the scary looking balloons. And I'll make this one a little smaller. And I'm just clicking and dragging, really. That's all I'm doing. I'm clicking and dragging it around. So if I wanted to say, it'll add it right there for me. And then if I wanted to add a photo, I'm going to go back to my uploads, and I will click and I'll drop it in place, and you'll notice she then appears right there in the image. So if you wanted to manipulate something however you need it, you can just plop it in place and move it around. If you don't like it to the left, you can move it to the right, however you want to place it. So frames are really handy for adding a little flair to your image, really, to your design. Let me see. Okay, so text. As you notice, I think you probably noticed as we're going through these things, this menu changes. Whatever you are clicked on, the menu changes depending upon what's selected. So if it's a graphic that has colors, the only option you really have are to either crop the edges of the image, flip it. So if I needed to flip it vertically, I could flip it horizontally, whatever I wanted to do. I could also do colors. So if I don't want this pumpkin to be that dark and I wanted it to be the golden color, I could manipulate it however I wanted and whatever would work best for me. So you'll notice because I'm selected on this, none of the text stuff appears because I don't have text selected. But when I click on the frame, it gives me an option to either fill it with a color, so it would remove the image and just fill it, or you could adjust it by adjusting the image, and it would change. Like, so if the image were a little dark, you can add some brightness, make it darker, add some contrast, just like photo editing stuff. Cropping it would crop the image itself, what you're viewing, as well as allows you to zoom in a little bit too. So if you said done, it would then plop it in place. So when I click on text, you'll now notice I have a few options here, and they are, this is the font window, the font size, the font color, which as you hover, you can kind of see them too, bold, italics. This allows the alignment. So right now it's right aligned. If I clicked it this way, it justifies the text, so it makes it as big as the text box is. If I do it left, left align, and then center align. Please do not feel like you have to use everything center aligned. Don't do that. Everything, like, it's really nice to have some difference between like left align things, right align things. It just makes a better flow for your design. As you can see, all of these things are right aligned because it's taking over the right corner of the frame. And then on the left-hand side, it has the pumpkins, so it's kind of making up for it on that side of things. If you wanted to add some bullet points, you can list them here. If you click it again, it changes to numbers, and then it goes away if you click it a third time. So bullets, numbers, and then it goes away. This option allows you to change the space between your letters as well as the space between your lines. So I'm going to see if I can show this without push it down a little bit so you can actually see what I'm clicking on. All right, so when I click on this, I'll change the letter size, and you'll notice it spaces out things really far or really, really squished. So however you want it to do, however much space you want between, it moves spacing between the text. And then if on line height, it then adjusts the sizing between certain things here within the lines. So if the text itself, some text allows a lot of extra space above and below it because it was either handwritten or however it was uploaded. So using the line height tool really helps as well. Our font is one that has a really big gap, which is the quicksand font. You'll notice if I wanted to add. Oops. So it makes a really big gap when that's between. So if you needed to adjust the line height, you can go in and plop it down and squish things together. But I'm just gonna click delete. If you can either click delete on your keyboard or click the trash can in the corner. So as I click on the text, other options are effects. This is one of my favorite tools that was now incorporated because I like to add what's a drop shadow. So this shadow tool allows you to kind of add some dimension to your image, but now it's done easily. I used to have to manipulate it myself and group text, the same text box on top of each other. So it's really nice that they have this incorporated. So if you wanted to change certain things about it, you can just click out of it. I'm on the shadow right now, and it says the offset means how far away it is from it. The direction is where you want the shadow. So think about like a 45-degree angle. That's where it's -45. So this little shadow is to the, I'm going to say the bottom right corner. So if I shift it around, it moves in a circle. Whereas if I did it over here, it makes it go really far away or really, really close. Blur, if I incorporate that, it makes it nice and soft. But if you make it really hard, it's just the hard line of it. Transparency makes it see through how much you want that color to come through or not. So when it's at full 100, you can make it the full like neutral color here, or if I pull it down to 0, it goes away. But other options, you have like the lift, splice, it does some different. So these are fun to play with, little effects for your text, which just kind of adds some dimension. Other options with effects, beyond effects, underlining. This makes everything underlines. If it clicks capitalization, so this is an all capitalized text. But if I click on this one, you'll get a better example. It makes everything caps or not caps, so whatever you need. Position is one of my favorite tools because it positions it on the page, I believe. If it does within, yeah, okay, it does. So I want to make sure when I'm clicking on something like that, as you select items, so if you want this, if you have it like way over here, but you want it to be in the middle, smack dab in the middle of the page, you can click the 3 dots, click position, and you can say you want it in the center and you want it in the middle, which then I'll zoom out and you can see it then put the text right in the middle of the page. But if I don't want it there, I can just click and drag it to wherever I want. And as you see, I'm moving these things, the purple lines are appearing. I don't know how well you can see them with the dark background, which I just click the background that square appeared. Like I said, as you click certain things, different menus, pay attention to this white bar will change. So as I click on the blue menu, it then changes. I can then manipulate it to be a tan color or whatever I want it to be. So I'll make it just a really light blue for right. Okay. So then, as I said, I was moving things around. You can see the purple lines move and adjust, show you your grids and your guidelines. If you want something to stay in place the entire duration of the time you're moving it, you can lock it in place. So let's say I really like the text there. I don't want to move it. I want it to lock. You just click the little padlock, and then anytime you want to like shift something or do that, the click and draw the box around, it will save it where you need it to. It won't select. Let's see. Okay, I have Gina's photo selected, but it's not selecting this because as I move it, it stays in place. So you've locked it in place, which is really nice. If you ever need to unlock it, you just click the little lock button and now it's unlocked again. If you click the three dots, the other options you have are transparency. So if I wanted to make it really, really light, I could do so, or really, really bold, it would be there. This allows you to duplicate it. So if you ever wanted an exact copy of something, you can just copy it there.
What if I want the squash to be in front of Gina's picture instead of underneath it?
Good question. Okay, I'm gonna make it bigger so it's more apparent. Okay, so if you wanted to send something to the front or send it to the back, you actually just click the position tool and you say, I want it to front, forward, or wherever you want it to position. So right now I want it as like the frontmost thing. I said to front, and then it puts it on top of that image as opposed to having it behind. So it now lays it out a little nicer. So you can just click on things. If I wanted to position Gina, I'd say to front or so on and so forth. So position tool is your best friend. It does have, I don't know if you can see it on here, there are key commands. So if you get used to using the key commands or you like to use them more, you can go in and do certain things like that to save yourself time than clicking the button. So I want to see if this one tool will work how I want it to. I know what it does. I just want to make sure. Okay, so this little thing looks like a paint roller. So it means that it would copy all of the colors and styles from this pumpkin. And if I wanted it to look the exact same on a different pumpkin, it would essentially do that. So if I click copy and then I click over to here, do you now see how my roller looks like it has the paint on it? If I click the tool, it then tries to manipulate it wherever it can. Sometimes it works, sometimes it needs a little help. But other than that, it is a really nice tool that would allow you to change certain colors. I don't think it works on text as well. Yeah, it's more or less the icons. On text, it works when you copy from text to text, from icon to icon. That copy tool was really helpful for if you're doing, okay, an example of that would be when we made our digital story times, which I'll find them. Oops, wrong folder. Okay, so when I was making these little clouds, I wanted them to be all the same color and size. I had used the paint roller tool to manipulate them to be the exact same. They're not a pattern. I just laid them in line that way. So that tool is helpful for that. Okay, other things I do want to go through before we wrap up. Photos, elements, okay, text. Like I said, you can click the text, add text, manipulate it, go through any of the fonts on the left-hand side, the size, whatever. Okay. Styles are all of our brand kit information that I showed you on the homepage, the colors, the headings, subheadings, anything that you might want here. They also do have some like color palettes too. If you want to run with this font and have these warm tones, you could do so. So it would try to manipulate certain things for you. Music is if you're making a video, which you can do videos on Canva. You can choose to, for example, if I wanted to make this whole thing just animated, I would click animate. And the reason I'm seeing that is because I have the background selected. If I clicked on any of these things, animate disappears. When I click the background, animate does appear. And if I wanted to block it, everything would appear a certain way. If I wanted them to pop into place, it would be animated. And then it would be, you can choose to have it however long you wanted it to be. So right now I made it 5 seconds. I could make it longer, shorter, and it would animate all of the stuff on it. So music would essentially allow you to add the music to something animated like that. Videos are really nice for if you're making something, which actually, if Gina is still here, I did that for your Freaky Friday. I used Canva to make the intro for that. So all of the stuff, all of the images were found from Canva, and it allowed me to go in and add the text. I manipulated however long I wanted it. Let me see if by adding an image here, if I add it to the background, I'm going to get rid of that. If I double click it, oops, I'm sorry, click it once, I can trim it to however long. So if I only want this section where it's zooming in or coming across right here, I could say done, and then it only plays that 2.6 seconds. And that's how I just did that by clicking the scissors tool, and you drag it however long you need it, however far you want it to be, and then you'll see it play. That little white line goes across, and it'll just keep looping to show you what you're choosing to save. So when you're ready and happy with it, you say done. The other normal functions, the crop, the flip, anything there. There's audio if you want it. You can mute it. I think my audio is off, so I can't hear it.
We're
Background.
just about out of time.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to stop recording and we'll take some questions.
Mhm.
If anybody has an extra 5 minutes to stay. If not, thank you so much for being here and hanging out with us for our brown bag lunch.
Thanks, everyone.